Every receptor could be a pain receptor if the stimulus is more than it can handle. X, for heat receptors, they feel the temperature of things. But if the temperature is too high for the receptor's measurement capability, the brain will interpret it as pain. This is because the receptors are made to measure what the body can take, and it makes sense that when this limit is achieved, you risk severe injury or death and need to go away from it. To answer your question, different type of receptors will give different type of pains because pain is just a sensation and the receptor type just adds flavor. Nerves from your brain go to your spinal cord, then split up and reach your internal organs, then go to your skin. Stabbing pain. There are many pain receptors on your skin and they are close together, so the ones that are damaged report pain to your brain and the ones right next to them that aren't damaged don't report pain. So you can point to the exact spot that hurts. This is sharp stabbing pain because it's like a fine knife going into your body. Dull ache. This is often used to describe pain on internal organs where the pain receptors are more spread out, so you can't pinpoint exactly where the damage is because one pain receptor is covering lots of area. Burning pain is often used to describe when the nerves themselves are damaged. Colicky pain is when a hollow organ squeezes over something hard. Your gut pushes food forward like when you squeeze the last bits out of a toothpaste tube. If there is a hard mass inside, you'll feel pain when it squeezes around that part, then the pain goes away when the squeezing moves forward. Then it comes back at the next squeeze. The same goes if you have a hard stone in your urinary tract. Radiating pain is when your brain confuses the internal organs with the parts of skin that share the same nerve. For example, the nerves that cover your heart then go on to cover your left arm. So if you have a heart attack, your brain might confuse the heart pain with left arm pain. This feels like the pain starts in your heart, but then moves out to your arm. There are many other terms, but this gives you an idea of how specific injuries and the anatomy of nerves affect the terms we use. The actual terms aren't that important. There are hundreds of languages, but all humans experience the same types of pain. They're just helpful for doctors to try to narrow down what's going on when they first meet you. If you are interested in pain science, take a look at Lorimer Moseley's Explain Pain. A lot has changed in the neuroscience world of pain. Everyone is talking about the biological pain pathway and no one is talking about the context of pain, which is a higher drive of your pain system. Your pain system does not measure damage, it measures your body's perception of damage. AKA you can have a lot of pain and no damage, and alternatively you can have a lot of damage and no pain. Pain is based around the context. You ever step on Lego? 10 tenths pain, no damage. Ever have a shower after a sunburn? 10 tenths pain and yet the water isn't doing damage. Source: I am a physiotherapist who works with a lot of chronic and acute pain and particularly persistent pain clients. There are different types of pain receptors, different types of nerves that carry the impulses from the receptors to the spinal cord and brain, and different types of neurotransmitters/pain pathways in the brain. Based on the receptors, nerves, and exact pain pathways in the brain that are activated, you feel things differently. These are modified to some extent by past experience, and other stimuli being presented to the brain at the same time, hence your experience of pain depends on your past painful experiences, and what else you are exposed to at the same time. For an ELA 10, https://www.ncb.nlm.nih.gov/books/nbk21925/2/ or https://www.ncb.nlm.nih.gov/pmc/articles/pmc6121522/. Lots of things can make the pain feel different. One is that you have different types of nerves for different kinds of pain. It takes a different sensor to detect that your skin has been broken than to detect that the temperature is unsafe. Another is just that the context the pain happens in will change how your brain perceives it. For example, if you have someone close their eyes and warn them that they are going to touch something hot, but instead you touch an ice cube to them, they may momentarily get a sensation like they've been burned. Everyone's complimenting the good answer, but this is a very fine question, and thanks for asking it. There are different kinds of sensors that can send pain signals. They can respond to mechanical forces, chemicals or temperatures. The way they respond can be complicated. For example, when you get injured and inflammation occurs, they can become more sensitive. This is why just moving an injured body part can feel painful. Their tuning is also not straightforward. Some are sensitive to a combination of things, or have non-linear responses. For example, there's one that responds mostly to cold but also gets set off by really high temperatures. This is why very hot water can feel cold sometimes. Not actually a pain sensor, but you get the idea. The question of why these signals feel different is mostly philosophy right now. It's like asking why colors look the way they do. Your brain takes these complex signals about the world and somehow produces experiences that help you to learn from them and react with appropriate actions. An ache will make you use that body part more gently, while a burning pain will make you pull away from whatever you've touched. The actual nature of those experiences themselves, What it is like to have the experiences, is called qualia. How qualia emerge from / relate to neural activity is one of the major philosophical mysteries in neuroscience. It's known as the hard problem of consciousness, and pain is often used as the example. Removed. The problem is not the different receptors, is that call pain to different sensations, is a limitation of our language. A bunch of people are offering answers like different fibers, brain differentiating between different stimuli based on experience, etc. But the real answer is that nobody knows why the firing of one nerve feels like one thing and the firing of another feels like another. As far as location goes, we know that certain sensations are processed in different parts of the brain, and we know that the brain contains regions that map to the body or the world, so neighboring parts of the retina project to neighboring parts of the visual cortex, neighboring regions is skin project to neighboring areas of the somatosensory cortex, etc. It makes sense that our sensory systems and our motor systems are interlinked in a way that we can reach for an object based on where it appears on our retina. But why does pain feel like pain instead of looking blue or smelling like lavender? What determines why burning feels like burning instead of sharpness of impact? Nobody knows. It's the same as the question of whether the color red that you see is the same as the color red that you see. A good follow-up question is whether ancient people feel pain differently from modern people, aka has pain evolved? As I understand it, sharp pain and dull pain are transmitted using different types of nerves, fast ones and slower ones. A sharp pain travels to your brain instantly, and indicates that you're actively in the process of being injured and you need to stop what you're doing right now. This covers burns, cuts, punctures, etc. Dull pain takes about 1.5 seconds to travel the length of your body, and indicates that you have been injured, and you need to care for that part of your body. A good example of this is stubbing your toe. If you kicked something hard enough, there's that initial sharp pain that informs you just screwed up. If you count off 1/1000, that's enough time for the dull pain to travel from your feet to your head and inform you that you may have also caused some lasting damage. So you need to be careful on that foot. Removed. Greetings, board certified pain doctor here. This is an incredible complex question that can't really be explained at the 5-year-old level, but I'll do my best. It'll be a long read even though I am simplifying a lot of it, so sorry in advance. The most simple answer is that differences in pain fiber types result in differences in pain felt. But this is far too much of a simplification. Pain is the emotional and physical response to perceived or actual tissue damage. It is our body's mechanism of preventing further tissue damage, whether real or perceived. This is clearly illustrated by placing your hand on a hot stove. Not recommended. We quickly withdraw from a painful stimulus to avoid further damage. It can also be maladaptive, such as most cases of chronic pain. There's no ongoing tissue damage occurring. However, our bodies perceive tissue damage and as a result behaviors are affected, such as avoiding painful activities such as walking, which can actually make the problem worse. Pain is sensed by the brain through 4 distinct phases. The first is transduction, where mechanical, thermal, or chemical tissue damage activates our pain receptors known as nociceptive receptors throughout our body. This tissue damage causes release of chemicals such as histamine and serotonin, which, combined with many other molecules, activates the receptor. How we experience pain can differ by the type of tissue damage occurring and density of fiber receptors. For example, a finger prick hurts more than an equal-sized prick on your buttocks due to nerve receptor density in those areas. The next step is transmission, where these receptors then generate a response along the nerve fibers that then carry this off to the central nervous system. This step relates a lot to your original question: why does it sometimes feel different? This depends on the type of nerve fiber being activated. Thicker, heavily insulated myelinated pain fibers known as A-delta fibers transmit sharp pain as quickly as possible. This is why when you touch a stove you withdraw it quickly, often before you even register what is happening. Slower, less insulated fibers known as C fibers give that later burning aching pain, telling your body that damage may have occurred and to avoid further damage. Next is modulation, where the nervous system ramps up or down the intensity of the signal. The easiest and most classic example is rubbing your arm after someone punches it, activating different nerve fibers and override the pain signals and reduce the intensity. Another example is a current topic of research, which is the brain's release of opioids when painful stimuli occurs. Finally is perception, how we interpret the pain signals once it reaches the more advanced portions of our brain. This changes depends on multiple factors, including attention and emotional state. Think of the marathon runner who has no idea that their feet are completely blistered in their shoe. They are far too focused to notice. People who are anxious and expecting pain are more likely to have an elevated response to it. Differences in how each person perceives pain occur at all of these steps, hence why the original question is a difficult one to answer. In pain medicine, We try and modify pain at each step. https://www.ncb.nlm.nih.gov/book/nbk219252/ for a more in-depth look at the anatomy and physiology of pain. Pain is just a subjective manifestation in your mind from your nerves being overstimulated. You have many different types of nerves that measure different parts of reality. Pain feels different in the same way hearing feels different than seeing. Think of pain like flavors. Just like your tongue is able to taste the difference between sweet and salty, your nerves are capable of feeling the difference between pressure and temperature. These flavors can also be mixed to make something different. In other words, placing your hand on a hot iron tastes hot while nailing your shin on a coffee table tastes like pressure. Breaking a bone can feel like there is a lot of pressure on the area and it can feel hot, too. There are other receptors in there that are firing like crazy and it all mixes together to give it that unique taste. There are two types of pain in this world. Pain that hurts. Pain that alters. Begun sensation. If you have never had nerve pain, your response is not valid. Nerve pain is a whole different ballgame, excluding birthing pain, that I could never experience, so I tap out on that one.